Hi there. The name of this lesson today is How I Lost to Herb. By Herb, I mean Herb Roman, who I think is the best player in the United States that's never won a major tournament. He consistently plays under 5, probably averages around 4.4, 4.5, or maybe even less sometimes. And a very, very fine player, but for some reason has just not had a lot of good luck in tournaments, or maybe loses concentration, maybe gets tired, I don't know. But when it comes to playing Herb, he's always very tough, and everybody at our club in Chicago knows how tough he is. He's always up there amongst the leaders. He beat me here because I redoubled. I'm winning. I'm 5 away. He's 8 away. I'm holding a 4 cube, and I redoubled to 8. And the idiot took. Of course, he was right to take. And I just rolled a normal number, and he rolled double sixes and beat me. Was he lucky? Sure, he was lucky. Everybody has to have some luck to win, but don't focus on the luck. The luck's going to even out in the long run. The point is, I was wrong to double, and he made the right play in taking. And his thinking over the board was excellent. It's a good lesson here. How do you come to a decision about whether or not you should double here? And by the way, my mistake wasn't too large. It's a little under 5%. And I thought it was a very good double because I thought there's a chance that somebody might drop this cube. And I'm right. Somebody might. It's right to double if I can get a drop 13% of the time. And I guarantee you a lot of players would drop this cube thinking it's hopeless. But not Herb, and not a really good player who can figure out the odds. So what are the odds? How do you figure the odds? Well, first of all, when he's doubled, he has 2 choices. He can drop or he can take. If he takes, we're playing for the match. If he drops, he's losing 1 away, 8 away. So where does he have better odds of winning the match? Being 1 away, 8 away, Crawford, or playing this game out for the match? Well, in order to make that determination, you don't just make a wild guess. Not if you're Herb Roman, not if you're a good player. You do the numbers. First of all, what is his chance of winning at 1 away, 8 away? Well, he did it on his fingers. He calculated how many games he'd have to win, and he came up with about 7%. Not bad. The real number is 6.75. How do we know this? Analyze. You can do it with math. You can do it, and it would take you quite a bit. You can memorize the match equity table, which very few people do, including me. I do the same thing Herb does and come up with an estimate, but 1 away, 8 away Crawford, 6.75. So he got the right idea. If he can win this game more than 7% of the time, he's better off taking than dropping. Well, how do you figure out what percentage of the time he will win this game? It looks pretty hopeless. I've got to roll a non-double, and he's got to roll a double. Well, if I roll double ones, I don't win. So I got to roll double 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That's 5 numbers. What are the odds of those 5 doubles? If I roll any of those 5 doubles, he doesn't even have a chance to roll his doubles. So what are the odds of my rolling those 5 doubles? It's 5 out of 36. Well, how many people know what 5 out of 36 is? It's actually the odds of 1 out of 36 is about 2.77. So just multiply 2.77 times 5. You done? Have you finished? I can't do that either. So I multiply 3 times the number of rolls, and that's 15. 3 times 5 is 15, and I take off 10% of that. And it works for most, it works pretty closely most of the time. In this case, I'd be off a little bit of it because I take off 1.5, and I'd be at 13.5 instead of 14%, which is the right number. But at higher numbers, that difference is very small. So the trick to multiplying, if you have 24, well, 24 we know is 2/3 is 66%. But if you have a number that you're not sure what the percentage is, multiply it times 3 and then take off 10% of your answer, and you're going to be very, very close to what the actual number is. In time, you'll memorize the key numbers. For example, 1136, which is a lot of times you have 11 shots. I know that's 30.5%. So you'll get to know a lot of the numbers as you study it. But the key is to learn the numbers. So at any rate, there's 14% of the time where he doesn't even have a chance. That means that leaves 86%. Of those 86% of the time, he's going to roll double 6 out of 36 times. Well, what's 6 out of 36 times? It's actually 16%. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract 1.8, and you're right about there at 16%. So what's 16% of 86%? Well, again, I not really good at math and can't do 86 times 16 in my head very easily, but I know that 86 times 15, which would be 1.5 times, would put me close. I did half of 8, so I get up to around 13, and I know because it's 16 and because there's the 6, I would probably get very close to the 14%. And by the way, the right answer is right here. It's 14.35%. So he's going to win this game 14.35% of the time by taking, and then he wins the match if he does that. And he wins the match if he drops only 6.25% of the time, 6.75% of the time, assuming that he and I are equal players. Well, that's not a bad assumption. Herb and I are pretty close. So he was massively right to take this. And when he rolls a double 6, it wasn't luck. It was just statistics. It's odds. It's likely to happen 14% of the time. So I took my chances when I gave the cube. Am I sorry that I gave the cube? Of course I am sorry that I gave the cube. But if you told me that he wasn't going to roll doubles, I would be very sorry that I didn't give the cube. And I don't think I'm certainly not embarrassed that I made a 5% mistake. If I was terribly embarrassed, you wouldn't be seeing this video right now. You don't see videos where I made a 30% error. And by the way, it happens. I must tell you, I make huge blunders. And I'm not embarrassed about that either, because I've got huge blunders that have been made by everybody in the world, starting with Falafel, the #1 player in the world. Everybody makes some huge blunders once in a while. So the lesson here is you need to know your take points. You need to know your opponent. I really probably should have waited, knowing that I could do all the same figuring that Herb did, and by the way, in my head I did. And I still concluded that he had a big take, but I might get a drop, and I still thought it was right to double, so that's where my thinking was wrong. I thought I had enough equity here to double, and I didn't. That's the logic. That's the thinking process. You use math and science as much as you can. You don't worry about, oh, he hasn't rolled doubles for a while. Maybe that's the reason I should double. Some people say, oh, he hasn't rolled doubles for a while. He's due, so I better not double. None of that makes sense. You use science and math, and that's how you become a great player like Herb, and you know how to play your opponent, and that's why you win tournaments like me. I'm having fun with Herb. Hope he watches this video. And congratulations to Herb for doing the right thing and winning. That's the attitude that you have to have. And the other attitude you have to have is, I'm more concerned with that I made a 5% error than that I lost the match. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.